All right. Good morning, guys. This is Jeremy Hurt, and we're here today to learn about some basic computer skills. And we're going to go through these slides. We'll take our time, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. So, starting out with the agenda, we're going to learn about some basic stuff, just turning on a computer, uh, keyboards and mouse, using a computer, using your help menus, the undo and redo features for when you make mistakes, file extensions and all the different kinds that are out there, downloading and uploading files and the differences between those. We'll learn about finding free software that's out there and doing so in a safe way. We're going to learn a little bit about PDF files and what they do and how they work, um, how to update your operating system and your software, customizing your desktop so that so that you get a personalized feel to it. Learn a little bit about viruses and how to prevent those. We'll learn how to set up a printer. We'll learn about power cycling a device, which is basically just turning it on, off, and back on again. Uh, we'll learn about keeping your computer running smoothly through updates and things, how to install software, how to uninstall software safely. Uh, we'll talk a little bit about Office apps and email, and then we'll dive into the all the different modules of Office and some other online email apps in a different session. So let's move right along. So basically, with turning on your computer, which is obviously the first thing you'll do, uh, it's pretty simple. You just basically gonna find the power button on the front or the top of your desktop, or in some cases in your laptop, it'll be generally right above the keyboard. And basically, you're just gonna press it, usually very quickly, and the computer's gonna start booting up. And once it starts booting up, it takes anywhere from about 15 seconds up to a couple of minutes, depending on what kind of hardware you're using and what all it has to load in order to get booted up. In front of you, you're going to have a keyboard and a mouse. With a laptop, those are typically built in together, or you might have a trackpad, which is just a little touchpad in front of the keyboard. Um, on a desktop, you do typically have a separate mouse and a separate keyboard that are attached to them. The keyboard is used for inputting any kind of text into the screen, and the mouse will be used for selecting items, also for performing actions on those items once they're selected. So the main screen of your computer is called your desktop. It allows you to store files and links to websites and applications in one place so that they're easily accessible to you. Um, those are stored in the form of what we call icons. Icons are basically just picture representations of those files and applications. Once you press on those, double click on them or right click on them, it lets you perform different actions such as opening them, deleting them, moving them, renaming them, just things of that nature. Uh, Most applications will have an item at the top toolbar that says help, and with that, basically, if you get lost or if you have any kind of trouble, those applications have a menu there that helps you kind of figure out what's going on and ways that you can maybe fix or know how to do what you're trying to do. In some cases, that help menu is also going to allow you to perform updates on that application, and also to reach out to support if you're not able to figure out how to fix whatever it is you need to fix. Also, another feature on most applications is an undo and a redo button. This is particularly popular in applications like Word and Excel, where you might be typing something or performing some kind of function, and it doesn't do what you intended to do, or you make some kind of mistake. You can always press the undo button to go back to uh, whatever you previously had typed. So if you type a word and hit enter, and then you hit undo, it goes back to before you hit enter. If you decide that that actually was not a mistake and you do want it there, instead of having to type it all back in, you can actually just hit the redo button, and that will put back whatever the last command you performed was. File extensions are those basically tell you what type of file you're dealing with. With things like Excel, you'll have files called XLSX files. You may also have TXT files or PDF files. There's any number. EXE files is another one. There's countless numbers of different file extensions out there, and they all perform different functions. And file extensions are just the 3 or 4 letter identifier after the file name. So you'll have file.txt, and that just means you have a text file called file. You'll know based on what the file extension is, you will know what program you need to use to open those. Now, in most cases, your computer already knows that ahead of time if it's any kind of popular file, so you don't have to worry about it. As long as you have a text editor on your file on your computer, then when you click on a text file, it already knows what program to use to open that. If it's ever not sure, it may ask you, and you may have to select that manually to determine which application you want to use to be able to open that file. There is a feature in Windows where you can go and you can hide the file extensions. So if you don't want to see those, or if you really just don't know what to do with them anyway, then you can select an option that allows you to hide those, just to make it less confusing and to eliminate some of the clutter on the desktop. Downloading and uploading. So the difference between downloading and uploading. With downloading, it is taking a file from an external source and putting it on your computer. Conversely, uploading is taking a file from your computer, from your local computer, and putting it somewhere else, somewhere external to the computer. So, using the internet, for example, downloading a file would be taking a file from the internet and downloading it onto your computer. Uploading would be taking a file from your computer and uploading it to some cloud server on the internet, or to a social media site like Facebook or Instagram. To download a file, we'll stay with the internet example. To download a file, you would go to whatever website that file is located at. You would click on it, and generally there will be a download option. And once you download it, your computer will place that file on your computer at whatever the default location is, or whatever location you manually specify. Typically on your computers, there's a folder called downloads, and that is what Windows uses by default for all downloads. So anything you download from the internet, you can find in your downloads folder. So if you want to upload a file, then you would go to whatever website you want to upload that file to, and you would select the location you want to upload that file to. And typically there's going to be a link to upload a file. You'll click on that file upload link, and then it will ask you to select what file you want to upload. You'll go find that file on your computer, and then you will select upload, and your computer will upload that file into the internet. A good example of that would be if you wanted to upload a YouTube video. So you would go to YouTube, you'd select upload video, you would choose that video, and you would there'll be some selections of how you want it presented on the internet, if you want it private or public. And then when you click upload, it will move that file from your computer to the internet, and then it'll be available to whatever selection you chose. One of the great benefits of the internet is that it allows you to find software that's free, that's available to you at all times. You can use the website Google to do that in most cases. It's very important, though, when you're finding software on the internet, that you know which applications are safe, which sites are safe, and that you watch out for any kind of scams. It's always good not to just click links that you might see on Facebook, or that you get in an internet on the internet, or that you get in an email. The safest way is to go to an intentional website that you have decided that you want to go to, and then select the download link from that website. Um, a lot of times, scammers will hide files and other applications inside links that you think are safe, and they're not. So one good example of that would be if someone sends you an email saying, "Hey, download this application to clean up your computer and make it run faster," and then you download that, and it steals information from you that's stored on your computer. So, you know, typically you don't want to use any kind of links. Just go to the website. If they tell you, here's an application that you should try out, go to that website, make sure it looks right, and then download it straight from that website, not from any kind of link that they send you. PDF files is one of the many types of file extensions. Um, it's a secure file that is uneditable by design. So when someone sends you a PDF file, it will be an uneditable form. It's intended mostly for like legal documents and contracts and things of that nature, where you can be sure that when you send it out to somebody, they're unable to edit it in the form that you sent it. So IRS tax forms is a great example. When they send you IRS tax forms, you'll get them in the form of a PDF file. That way they know that you can't change the file in the form that they sent it. There are applications out there that do allow you to edit those, but PDF files track any changes. So it will always keep the original version, even if you make a change and you save it as a different file. So a great way to be able to send a document to somebody and know that it's secure and not edited after the fact. There is a way to create a PDF file. For instance, if you go into Word and you type a document up and you want it to be a PDF file, you can go in and you'll be able to save that as a PDF file, and it will convert that Word document into a PDF file that you can then email out. And we'll discuss a little bit more about how to actually do that when we get to the Word training course. One of the very important things to do with your operating system, with whether it be Windows or OS or in any other operating system that you choose to use, to make sure that you always keep it up to date, or at least as up to date as possible. Um, most most operating systems have a very simple way to do that. In Windows, you just click on the Windows logo button and select Settings, and then there will be an option called Updates and Security. Once you're in there, you will just simply uh, check for updates, and any updates that it finds, it will download and install. By default, it does this automatically. You can change those settings to do it manually if you want, but it's very important to make sure that your Windows or whatever operating system you choose to use is always up to date and secure. You'll also have this option with any applications that you choose to use, be it Office or really any other thing. Typically, you can go into the Help menu, and it will say check for updates, and then you can update from there. Uh, but any application, any operating system that you choose to use, it's always a good idea to make sure that you always keep it up to date. They push out security features all the time on most applications to deal with any security threats that arise on a almost daily basis. Customize your desktop. So there's a few ways that you can do that. You can do that with themes. You can do that with backgrounds, and you can do that with images. So you can go in and change the background on your computer to whatever you want, whatever picture. You can actually select through themes that are preloaded in Windows that will change everything about your screen, from the backdrop picture to even the icons and the fonts that are on there, to the taskbars and borders and just the general look. So with a theme, it kind of changes everything to match to a common theme. With backgrounds, you're basically just changing the background picture, and you can add images, and whatever else you want to do. Um, if you right click on your desktop, you'll see an option there called personalize, and Windows will walk you through all the different kinds of personalizations you can do, and it will help you with making those decisions. So kind of a fun way to make your desktop look and feel however you want to. If you're a big sports fan, you want to put your favorite team on there. That's a good way to do that. Just be aware that some work computers may be locked down to only allow certain things, to prevent people from putting images that the company doesn't want displayed on computers. Or they may have a common company logo that they want as a background or theme, that they kind of put in there as a mandatory thing. One of the big things to look out for when you're in Windows, or really any application or operating system, or even when you're just online, is viruses. There's lots of antivirus applications out there. A lot of them are free, and some of them you have to pay for. There is actually a lot of good free ones out there that are very adequate in protecting your computer. But it's very important to always make sure that you have at least some kind of antivirus protection out there. Even if it's just one of the free ones, it's still better than not having anything at all. Windows does actually have a free version preloaded. It's called Windows Defender, and basically, if you don't have any other antivirus software on your computer, then Windows Defender will enable itself. So really, the only way you could ever have a computer that doesn't have one is if you just uninstall all your antivirus applications and disable Windows Defender, which would be a very bad idea. What those antivirus programs will do is they will scan your computer, either manually, or some of them do it automatically. Some of them even do what's called on-access scanning, which is basically it scans every file prior to you opening it. It also scans emails as they come in and as they go out. Um, and it basically just helps to keep your computer safe from any problems that may arise. Um, if your computer does find a virus, generally it's nothing to panic about. From a work standpoint, the first thing you'd always want to do is notify your IT department. If you're at home and you don't have an IT department, then you always want to run a secondary scan with your antivirus. And in a lot of cases, it will allow you to automatically repair that file or remove that file if it's something that's not needed. But just make sure that any file that arises that's corrupted or that has a virus on it, just make sure that you do take some form of action with it, and that you get it cleaned up. You don't want those hanging around. One of the most common devices that gets connected to a computer is a printer. There will be when you go to set up a printer, there's an infinite number of ways that these printers will require being set up. Um, but there's two basic ways. There's wired and wireless. Typically, with a wired printer, all you'll have to do is plug that printer into a power source and then use a USB cable to plug it into your computer. Once that's done, your computer will generally recognize it and walk you through a short installation process. If it does not recognize it, then there's generally either software that comes with the printer, or you can go online to the printer's manufacturing website and you can download any of the setup files that you'll need to get that printer connected. For wireless printers, there is basically the same thing, just without the USB cable. Once you plug the printer in, you will be able to generally set it up to your local wireless network, whether you're at home or at work, and then it will Once it's connected to your wireless, in most cases, your printer will actually automatically connect to your computer. If it doesn't, there will be generally a setup process that will run either from the website, or there'll be instructions with your printer on how to set that up manually. If you ever have trouble setting up your printer, if you're at work, always a good idea to just contact your IT department. If you're at home, just do your basic troubleshooting. Go back through the process from step one and make sure you didn't miss anything. And if you just completely get stuck, the printer manufacturer website will usually have a support number, or a support chat window that you can open up and get help with doing that. One of the common things that people do to correct any issue with a device or an application is power cycling on the device, and power cycling just basically means turning it off and turning it back on again. So if you're ever on the phone with an IT person and they say, "Have you tried power cycling the device?" That just means, have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again? Whether it's a computer or a router or a printer, 90% of issues probably can be fixed simply by power cycling it. Sometimes things just get hung up, and what we call glitches happen. So, you know, just try turning it on or turning it off and turning it back on again, and that'll usually fix a lot of your issues. If it doesn't fix it, then there's generally going to be the next steps to follow. Keeping your computer running smoothly, basically, the best ways to do that is to always make sure your computer is secure with antivirus, and any other security features that your applications or your operating system may offer. Um, it's always better than the alternative of your computer being corrupted. Always make sure you upgrade your operating system and that you're using the most up-to-date versions. You also want to make sure that those versions have all of their security features in place. So make sure you update those on a regular basis. And you also want to make sure that you have a backup in place, and make sure that your files are backed up uh, regularly. And that will help prevent with any kind of data loss if something bad should happen. If your hard drive crashes on your computer, you don't want to lose all your files and pictures that you had on there. So make sure those things are backed up. Uh, Typically, you want to do a nightly backup, but that can get a little cumbersome if it's a personal computer, and you don't have software to do so automatically. But certainly go in as often as you can and try to perform those backups. There's a lot of great software out there that will do that for you, and some of it's even free. So always a good idea to just kind of look into those and see what you can find. Installing software just basically means taking software that's loaded on a CD-ROM, which is kind of an older way to do things. But there's also USB drives. There's also web installations. So basically, it just means to put a program from the internet, or from some kind of physical media onto your computer. And what that does basically is it unpacks it from a compressed version and puts all of the files in a folder where they need to go on your computer, and adds registry entries to your system to make everything run smoothly. For example, when you go into Office, you'll install Office on your computer in most cases, and that will put everything where you need it to be. For example, it'll put icons on your desktop so that you can easily access those applications and open them. It also adds, behind the scenes, it adds all of uh, the security keys and the registry entries, so that your computer knows what to do with those icons once you click on them. Just the opposite of that is uninstalling software. So when you no longer have need for software, or you installed something by mistake and you want to get it off of your computer, you just want to actually go in and uninstall it. The easiest way to do that is by going into your control panel on your computer and then clicking on the programs and features option, and then from there, it will give you a list of all the applications that are installed on your computer. Um, from there, you can click on whichever application you no longer want and select the uninstall button. Once you select that, it's going to ask you if you're sure that you want to uninstall it, um, and then go ahead and click OK on that, and it will uninstall that program. Now, keep in mind that this is not something that you can undo. Once you install it, once you uninstall an application from your computer, it is gone. The only way to get it back is to do a complete reinstallation of the program. And you may any settings that you had on there previously, any files that you had attached to it, uh, those could be uninstalled with the program. Most of the time, files, like if you uninstall Office on your computer, the files that you created, all the Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, things like that, those actually don't get deleted, but you'll no longer be able to open them without having a new version of Office installed on your computer. Like I said in the beginning, we're going to talk about Office apps and emails. Um, we'll talk about those in a separate session, and we will go through each one of the applications of Office